Welcome back to Moko Plays Satisfactory. So, last episode we spent a good chunk of time on this oil into plastic, rubber and fuel factory. And we're now most of the way there. Just to kind of get the lay of the land, that's our home base over there in the distance. On this side of things is the original node for normal oil, where we had our temporary plastic and rubber first factory. In this direction is our new pure node. So between that and the normal node, which we're still piping down this way, we have 900 crude oil per minute coming in here. And on the first platform here is all our plastic production. On this second platform here is all our rubber production. On this third, much smaller platform that I'm standing on is packaged fuel production. And then off in the distance there, we're turning our byproduct from plastic and rubber, which is heavy oil residue, into fuel that we're going to use into fuel generators. So yeah, let's have a quick look at the progress so far. What have we got? Refineries are all done. We've got containers. Are they called containers? Whatever it is that packaged fuel goes into, that's up and running. The fuel packager is up and running. And we've got our residual fuel refineries there as well. So 2 things left to do. Deal with any overflows of the solid materials, which is a pretty quick job that we're going to do right now, and deal with the fuel generators, which we need 25 to deal with the amount of fuel we've got in this factory. So yeah, crude oil comes in, runs through into all of these refineries, which produce plastic, which I'm belting down to the far end there, and which produce heavy oil residue, which I've got piped through the floor there into an engineering floor. I'm doing the same thing with the solid outputs, just dropping those down to the floor below as well. So that's plastic being produced on this one, and we're just piping the heavy oil residue out in that direction away from us. On the next platform we're doing basically the same thing, but these guys are all going to be producing rubber. So taking crude oil in and outputting rubber, which again is being belted down the far end there and dropped down onto the engineering floor. And heavy oil residue, which is again being piped down through the floor there. Let's take a quick look at those engineering floors. So this floor is consolidating all of the heavy oil residue from the plastic build over there, piping it in this way, consolidating with the heavy oil residue from the rubber build above us. These belts, these are rubber being merged and ran a line through here. And this is running into the underneath of the plastic build. So these lifts are dropping down plastic and again consolidating them here. I'm also splitting off a small amount of plastic to go over in that direction, which takes it into our packaged fuel build. And then the rubber output is going straight over in this direction to get lifted up into storage. And the plastic output, oh no, I got so stuck there. Plastic output, thank you. I actually ran the plastic output first, and I had an idea, which was, what if we run it like to the outside of the building and then run the belt around the outside so we can see some stuff being generated. So we have this setup here, which might be quite a nice visual. It was a bit of a hassle to get this set up and ran and keep it out of the way of everything else, though. I didn't want to do that when I got round to adding the rubber, given that I would have to go around 2 buildings and across a gap and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, let's just run it through the middle there. And I just realised that I think my storage containers are labelled the wrong way around. Oh well. Yeah, so that's going to be rubber. That's going to be plastic. And fact, let's get ourselves back up there. And from this direction, this is producing packaged fuel, which we're going to run on this belt here underneath, and again lift it up into storage. Storage is all up there towards the front of the base. That's a good practice that I try and follow as much as whenever I remember to, because when we want to come here from our main base to get some plastic, rubber or packaged fuel, we don't want to have to navigate all of this mess, so just come in near a highway. So it always makes sense to have like the stuff that your base is producing then belted or shipped back towards the front of the base or to wherever you're going to be working nearest. So this new platform here, right, the crude oil, we've got some coming from main pure node there, we've got some coming from the normal node over in that direction. We're splitting off in this location. To the left goes for the rubber build, to straight ahead of us is consolidating some of this into the plastic build, so we're pretty much splitting our oil 50-50. A very small amount of that, and I've got a valve there at the bottom controlling that. Very small amounts coming up here into the packaged fuel build. So taking in crude oil, putting out fuel, and as a byproduct polymer resin. We've got this underclocked right now so it doesn't draw too much. Really all we want is, I think, 10 packaged fuel per minute. The polymer resin is a byproduct. We could loop that back in and get more stuff from it, but it just adds complexity that we don't care about right now. So instead I'm just belting that straight out into an awesome sink, so we'll get some coupons when all this is running as well. The small amount of plastic that we split off under the engineering floor before, that runs underneath us, gets lifted up here into this constructor to make canisters, that's what they're called, not containers. And again, just producing the 10 per minute that we need. So the canister and the fuel from this build comes here into a packager and outputs packaged fuel. And then that gets belted underneath and sent back to storage here. So, two things left to do, one of which is deal with the overflows for any solid materials, which we'll look at in a moment. One of which is build all of those fuel generators to make use of the fuel, because all of the heavy oil residue that we're producing as a byproduct from the plastic and from the rubber build gets shipped away to the far side of the base here. In this direction. From the engineering floor underneath us, it gets combined into this pipe and sent this way into these refineries, which are set to the residual fuel recipe, which takes in heavy oil residue and outputs fuel. Fantastic, we can use that to make power. And it's around about at this point in the build that I realised I had done a big oop. Because the fuel that we're building is going to come down here, and it's going to go into 25 of these fuel generators. And these fuel generators take 5 computers and 10 heavy modular frames each to build. We have nowhere near that many, and we have not yet even considered automating production of computers and heavy modular frames. So right now, 1, we can't generate the power that we thought we were going to make, and 2, we have all of this heavy oil residue, which for us to run any of this factory and generate any plastic or any rubber is going to be produced, and it's going to have to go somewhere. So welcome to somewhere. Welcome to temporary fluid buffer hell. So yeah, much like we did with our first plastic and rubber factory, so that the factory can run, we're going to get the liquid output of it here, and we're just going to leave these to fill up. And then they will fill up, and then we'll come back and we'll empty the network. And then they'll be able to fill up some more so that we can make more plastic and rubber. And that's just how we're going to live our lives until we've solved the problem of how do we build 25 of these things, given that we only have 48 computers and 169 heavy modular frames right now. So yeah, that was... I did not think ahead on that front. That one did elude me. But no matter, we've found a way to make it workable with a quick and dirty fix with those fluid buffers. It does just mean that we don't get that moment where we'll flip the switch on this factory for the first time and know it's going to be running and self-sustaining forever. Instead, it's going to run for, I don't know, could be an hour, could be 2 minutes, and then those buffers are going to get full, and then it's going to cease production of plastic and rubber, and also it's not going to be generating any power for us, so it might also trip our entire power grid. We'll see. We'll find out. So, yeah. Can't do the fuel generator bit until we've got at least temporary quick and dirty automation of computers and heavy modular frames. That's not a trivial ask, by the way. Computers at minimum take 2 parts, and circuit boards themselves are not trivial parts to make. Neither are crystal oscillators. One of these other builds might be easier, but either way, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And heavy modular frames, similarly, are a bit of a bugger. We are automating all of these parts now. They're in various places all over the world, so yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we need to, which is soon. Meanwhile, though, overflows is the other thing that we don't have checked off here, and that's what we're going to look at right now. So, these belts, this one here is rubber, this one here is plastic, so I do in fact need to swap these around. And if we imagine, if we use the power of mental visioning of the future to when we do have all of that, all those fuel generators up and running, this factory is just going to keep going in perpetuity, and it's going to take all of the oil in and generate the solid materials and the byproduct liquids, and then the liquids are going to get turned into fuel, and the fuel is going to go into generators. So this is actually, as well as generating solid goods, is going to fuel itself and some of the rest of our base as well. This is going to be a source of power, which is good. What we don't want is to generate plastic and rubber, fill up these containers, and then have production shut down because all of our belts backfill, which means all of the refineries backfill, which means that no new heavy oil residue gets produced, which means that no new fuel gets generated, which means that no more power gets generated here. What we want instead is a constant throughput, and that's where overflows come in. We've done overflows before. In simplest terms, you stick a splitter down, and you run that splitter away to somewhere else, something that can take an unending flow of resources, like, for example, an awesome sink. Which is exactly what we're going to do here, but we're going to use a new toy to make it even more efficient, which is the smart splitter that we unlocked last episode. So how this is going to work is from our solid production line here, we're going to drop a smart splitter. And we're going to run belts from that into one of 2 places. We're going to run it into storage, and we're going to run the other one down into our awesome sink. And then what we're going to tell the smart splitter is basically smart splitters are a 1 in, 3 out, the same as a regular splitter, but you have control over what each of the outputs does. So you can, for example, run a mixed line with multiple products, and you could say, hey, I at this point want to split away from this mixed line all of my black powder to go left, and all of my cables to go right, and all of my caterium ore to go center. Or you can just set an output to any, like this, and that's going to fill that storage container. Center output, if we don't connect a belt there, nothing will happen, but just so we're not getting ourselves confused, I'm going to set it to none. And then right output, we're going to define as overflow, and what that means is resources come in to this splitter, nothing goes out the front, anything goes out the left, and only when the left output is full, saturated, so the storage container gets filled and then this belt backs up, then run things to the right. instead, which is exactly what we want here. And you can do this running into a storage container. You can do it running into another build as well. So if you imagine if we had some recipe that took 10 rubber per minute and we were generating 15 rubber per minute, you'd set up just like this, drop a smart splitter in, set the left output to any or to rubber, and the right output to overflow, and then it'll run. Take all 15 rubber, run it through here, run it into our hypothetical machine here, which sooner or later its input will get saturated because it only needs 10 per minute and it's getting 15 per minute. That'll fill its buffer, backfill the belt here, and then the smart splitter goes, aha, well now is my time to just send everything through here. And then if we come along and change something, like add a second machine over here, we can do so safely, knowing that we're not going to like really disrupt anything, because the right output will only be sending stuff to the awesome sink when it's overflow, when it's excess product, which is exactly what we want. We want passive coupon generation from stuff we don't need, without just saying, ooh, always split everything 50-50 or 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Yeah, so the way that we're going to do this to run everything on a single line with one awesome sink is we're then going to add mergers. I hope this is in the right place. Running that way, get rid of those. Pop the right output into a conveyor lift. I'm using the fastest belts and lifts possible for the overflow. Like, just in case, really. We know we're producing maximum slightly less than 300 plastic and rubber per minute, but as soon as we combine plastic and rubber on this line here, we want to make sure that we're not going to be held back by belt speed. So yeah. So that's how that works if I did set these outputs correctly. Any and overflow. Cool. And then we're just going to do exactly the same thing for our plastic and our packaged fuel. Alright, we could have saved ourselves a lot of messiness and head scratching there if we just ran each smart splitter overflow into its own awesome sink. But then where would the fun in that be? Don't answer that. Okay, power for our awesome sink, which we can just tap into our main power line here. Alright, cool. So, we'll have storage here. Anything excess that's being produced will be awesome sunk automatically. So, let's get these back on the default color scheme. So that takes care of that. Right. I think we're at a point where we're very nearly ready to throw the switch on this thing. What I probably haven't done is set recipes on a bunch of these, so I'll whiz around it and do that, and then we'll come back and connect the power up and see things working. And then we'll go and figure out what we're doing with the rest of our lives for computers and heavy frames. So yeah, check back in a bit. Alright, everything's got a recipe, so let's try it. Let's just connect this up to our power grid and see what happens. I have a hunch that I will have forgotten to connect something somewhere. And there's a fair old chance that, given that this thing is not going to be producing any power, that this is going to take us over our capacity for power draw and shut things down. But let's find out. Right, okay, so that's connected. This oil pipeline has been full for a while, because it comes from the original node, which was already hooked up to our power grid. The other oil pipeline was not. It probably would have been a good idea if I'd connected that and got that oil flow full first to fill all of the buffers in all of the machines that are connected to it. But, oh well. We have green lights over here, so things are being produced. We have red lights over here, which I assume means power. Oops. Come on. Yeah, okay. So I built the blueprints with power lines, but I've not connected every bit of it that I should have done. Okay, we're all green over here. We're producing, which is good. We have plastic flowing, which is good. Plastic flowing back over here. But going into the awesome sink. Because why? That seems not right. God damn it. That belt was soft clipping instead of connected to the splitter. Right, you want to be overflow. Hey, at least we know our overflow works. We have rubber going into storage as it should do. That can in fact be a Mark III belt, so that we don't have different speed belts going around and annoying me. This is looking good. No packaged fuel as yet. Right, let's fly over that side of things. Green lights, good. Green lights and some yellow lights, so maybe we're not getting the oil we need over here just yet. Should be going. Yeah, green, yellow. Yeah, oil's still making its way through the system. I think that is just the second oil extractor kind of coming online. Like I say, I should have really turned that on first so that it filled up all of the pipes and the buffers. We're good. We know we're creating rubber and sending that back over. This should have heavy oil residue in it, and it does. Means that these should be running, and it looks like they are. Got at least one green light here. That's producing as well. Cool. Got fuel. It's a tiny amount of fuel here. That's good. May as well flush it while we're here. How much does one of these make, given that we've got one sitting here anyway? 150 megawatts, that's not nothing. We may as well. It'll take a while to filter through. Also, some idiot just flushed all of the fuel out of this system. What about packager platform? I see red lights. Power is probably not hooked up to the grid. I see different coloured lights. I see green here making canisters. Slowly. Certainly not quickly. There we go. I see output of this. I see that our power grid has gone down. Okay. Well, that's a shame. Okay, so what we should do then is we should turn this off for now, and we should head back to our main base, and we should take on another item from our to-do list, which is power storage, because we have the means to do that now. Right, if I flip this back on, then should be good. You'll see the max consumption's dropped right off now that we've taken the oil factory out there. We're consuming about 1,000 megawatts per minute. We're producing much more than that, so that's good. Now up here we have our biomass town, which will have started burning as we went overdraw, and then this will also have not been able to keep up, which is fine. It's now stopped because we're working within our capacity. So what we want to add somewhere, and this seems like as good a place as any, is some power storage. So these we got on one of the tech upgrades relatively recently. They're an incredibly useful thing for a base or a factory, a world of factories to have, because you just drop them down here, hook them up to the grid, and then so long as there is, so long as you are producing more power than you are currently consuming, any excess produced, which right now just vanishes into the ether, will instead come and live in these batteries. And when you then add something or some other production that had been previously halted spins back up or whatever, if anything happens that takes you over your capacity, then these kick in and start to feed power back into the grid. So basically it buys you time. You get like a visual timer on screen as well with like how full are they, how long will it take to drain down at the current rate, or if they're currently filling, how long is it until they're completely full, and that sort of thing. And it's great because this is just like completely modular. You can just keep adding more of these as you expand your base, because obviously if we were, you know, consuming like 10,000 megawatts per minute or something like that, then even if we did go over capacity, the capacity, like the storage of these, wouldn't last us very long. Each one of them stores what, 100 megawatt hours. I guess we just need to hook to the first one in the chain then. Which is over there. Let's upgrade you instead then. Alright, cool. So you can see there's an indicator on the power storage themselves, but also now if we go to any power pole on our network, we can pop this out and we can see, hey, if we do nothing else, if we add no more machines, if we don't run at any drastically different rate, if we don't add any more sources of power either, then these guys will be full in about 2 hours. And then obviously if we do go over capacity, they'll tick down and empty, and we would see instead time until empty, so it lets you know how long you've got to solve a problem before all production gets shut down. The bit I wasn't 100% sure about, but it looks like it's handled sensibly, is this doesn't draw from our biomass burners, which is good because they're not a sustainable source of power. We have to feed these, so this is good. This is just taking the excess from our coal power production, storing it in here, and that means that we'll be able then, once these are fully charged, to turn our oil factory on for a certain amount of time. So let's call that one done. And really, in fact, let's just get that off the to-do list. And what we need to now be thinking about is computer production and heavy frame production. And we want to make enough to give ourselves to let ourselves build some fuel generators. That's the short-term goal. The long-term goal is sustainable, ongoing, infinite production of computers and heavy modular frames, because we're going to need them for plenty things going forward. How is our space elevator thingy doing? What do we need with these? 500, we've got 100, 200. We're about halfway there with these, so we should keep feeding this and keep this going. That's making circuit boards. That's useful because we need those for computers, so let's feed this as well. With plastic and quickwire. And the fact that we need plastic to make circuit boards probably helps illustrate why it's useful for us to be able to turn our plastic factory back on even in short bursts. Quickwire we are producing, so let's go and grab some of that. What's this making? Smart plates. And that feeds into our thingy here. Oh, this is still producing. I thought that had stopped for some reason, but it's still going. With rubber, smart plates, and motors. Cool. Rubber, smart plates, motors. We should drop in more motors. That's nice. Okay, cool. That can just keep ticking over then. We're making 2.5 per minute. We need about another 250, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. That math seems like it should be really easy, but it's not. 250, about 100 minutes, right? Of course it is, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's worth having that overclocked here. Right, I need to grab some more motors for me. I need to grab some quickwire for that build, and then we need to look at setting up a similar box manufacturer for computers and heavy modular frames. Motors for me, please. And quickwire. And yeah, this right here is why I want to change our central storage. If we're producing something this far away from the main base, we want it in a central location instead. And maybe this would be like a truck, bringing these into a main storage, or a train or something like that. In fact, I should just grab an entire inventory full, because they're going to get used. one more stack on me just in case I need it for anything. Okay, those are circuit boards being made. Right, let's strap ourselves another platform here. No, that's not the foundation that I thought it was. There we go. Okay. Computers. Couple of recipes. This one's circuit boards and crystal oscillators. We aren't producing crystal oscillators yet. This one's circuit boards, quick wire, which we are producing but nowhere near here. Rubber, which we are producing but nowhere near here. Circuits, cables, which are near here. Plastic, which is not near here. And in fact, we aren't producing in volume right now. Neither are we producing rubber in volume right now. Screws. So I think this is probably going to be the one to go with. It needs quite a lot of quartz. Oh. Ooh, those are just assembler builds, actually, which is kind of nice. Oh, but the crystal oscillator is not an assembler, is it? It's a manufacturer? Yeah, okay. Okay. You make crystal oscillators, please. 1 per minute. What? What are you even talking about? Default computer recipe is 1-to-1 crystal oscillators to computers. Let's overclock this. 45 quartz, 35 cable, 5 reinforced plates. We can do that. We can just drop those into boxes here. You paste the setting. Alright, your quartz crystals. You are something else. Cables and reinforced plates. Cablers. Reinforced plates. Okay. Take my reinforced plates. Take my cables. Take my quartz crystals. For now, your output into a container. Right. Give me quartz crystals. All of them. Oh, can you not upgrade those in place? That's a shame. Right, we don't need to be holding this much silica. Have I got space in my inventory to pick up cables and things? Yep, cool. Cables and reinforced plates. You are... I meant to copy the sign there. There we go. You are creating crystal oscillators. No, you're not, because you have no power. You are. And then, what are we making here? 2.5 per minute, so we can make 2.5 computers per minute if we just feed that straight into an assembler. So in fact, let's not even bother to store those. No, let's add a storage buffer just in case. And let's add an assembler. Crystal computer, and you also need circuit boards, which we already have in storage over here. Somewhere here. Yeah. Any viewers of a sensitive disposition who would be, you know, irrevocably scarred by seeing some messy belt work should look away now. There is a time and a place for neat factories, and this is not it. This is... give me the goods. Alright, you are computers. Oh, look at that. What a gamer. I'm confused as to why this thinks it's making 2.8 something per minute. Oh, because it takes slightly more than a minute to do the recipe. Okay, cool. That's... Two and a half, yeah. Okay, that's fine. So it's going to slightly underproduce, but that's okay. The important thing is we have computers. Now, heavy modular frames. Five modular frames, 15 steel pipes, 5 encased beams, 100 screws versus this stuff. Where are we even when it comes to modular frames? Are we making them? I know we're making them. Are we making them and using them, or are we making them and storing them? If we are making them and storing them, then I am happy. We are! They're just sitting here, just backed up, just going into a storage container that's full. That's... Oh, that's the best. That's the best case scenario here. Oh, what even is this build? Right, okay. Alright, what are we doing? We're doing a manufacturer. Why do I care about it being in line with the other manufacturer? That's maybe the most ridiculous thing I've done in this entire playthrough. Right, with this one, I think makes sense. I would hope it goes without saying. We're going to redo this at some point. We're going to do like ongoing, fully automated start to finish builds for computers and for heavy modular frames. But this is not that time. Steel beams I need. I've even been funneling modular frames into something over here. It's interesting. Nope, no steel beams there. Oh no. I don't even need that many steel beams, do I? I just need enough to like build some containers. I'm an idiot. Come on, just let me aim at the place that I want to aim at. Alright. Modular frames, encased beams, pipes, and concrete. Modular frames, encased beams, concrete. Modular frames. Encased beams. Pipes. Concrete. Oh, I wish I hadn't filled my inventory full of steel beams for no reason. That would have been better. Objectively better. Modular frames. Cased beams. I'll grab some more of those in a minute. The pipes. And concrete. My brain is firing on... I don't know how many cylinders it has, but it is firing on fewer of them right now. These are heavy modular frames. And they are slow, and therefore we will speed them up. Alright. I'm going to pretty regularly need to run back and forward with steel pipes and concrete. So in fact, let us do this. And then we can just drop them in the top one, and we've got double the storage. Alright, what do I need? Steel pipes and encased beams from over there. Ourselves some for containers and belts and that sort of thing. Pipes, give me all of them. Case beams, give me all of them. We don't have too many of those right now. Status, I think I was running low on as well, so let's grab a couple. Go in there, and we need at least a few for ourselves. Encased beams. go in here, and we need at least a few for ourselves. Modular frames and concrete. We are not producing concrete particularly fast. Could we easily produce it faster? Making 15 per minute from each of these. We could overclock and add more constructors, I guess. Is that worth doing? Yeah. What are they? 45 per minute. Yes, okay. 45 * 225. Well, this feels like the early game. Building on, you know, uneven ground. Just like what Dad used to build on. We probably only need Mark III belts, yeah. I'm gonna get stuck here. Oh, I'm not. That's nice. Alright, cool. Hey, we have now computer production and heavy frame production. Go us! Oh, we're so good at this game. Right. Is there anything else we need to do desperately right this minute? I don't think so. And this episode's kind of long, so this probably feels like a good point to call it an episode. So what progress did we make? Well, we found out that our oil into rubber into plastic factory isn't viable, and then tried to turn it on anyway, and then blew up our power grid. We added some power storage, so that will be not, you know, impossible to happen, but less likely to happen in future. Those are going to sit and not get any fuller, because we're already using quite a lot of power right now, with all of the overclocking and everything that we're doing. So that's not good. We're temporarily making heavy modular frames at a rate of 7 per minute. That's actually pretty good. I mean, we need several of them. How many do we need? We need 25 fuel generators, and they take 10 each. So, like, we nearly have enough already. Really, that's good going. And we need computers, and we're making those. So we're in this maze of horribleness. You know, like 2.5 computers per minute, and we need whatever 25 times 5 is. 125. That's nothing. That's, you know, with the 42 that we've got here and the 48 already in our inventory, we've got like 90. I thought this was going to be some long drawn out horrible affair to wait for all of these to build up to the point where we could fix our fuel generating situation, but actually it's not that bad. Can't really tell what's from what. Let's get rid of these from our list for the time being. I got rid of the wrong one there. Let's get these back on there. Yeah, we're not too far away. This just needs to sit and spin its wheels for a bit. So I'll let that do that. And then we'll come back next episode and we'll add our fuel generators, and then we can call our oil and plastic and rubber and fuel build done. And hope that I haven't done anything ridiculous with thinking about the power requirements there. Hopefully that is generating more power than it's consuming, which is good, because then we'll be able to build up our power buffer. And then we'll be able to come over here and tear down all of this horribleness and start to think about what we want to do next, which is probably monorails, trains, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll catch up on the next episode of Satisfactory. Cheers.